Hello from the Palais des Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. This is the April edition of UNITARnews. I am Clintandra Thompson. Today's headlines are: the Executive Director of UNITAR traveled to Korea to increase cooperation between the institution and the island of Jeju. Lastly, we remark on the exciting developments from the CERN and the UNISAT collaboration. Now we bring you a story from the Shanghai World Expo. The Executive Director of UNITAR sent a short video to the UN Pavilion Coordinating Agency, UN Habitat, highlighting UNITAR's work towards economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable cities. For the Shanghai World Expo, the Executive Director of UNITAR sent a short video to the UN Pavilion Coordinating Agency, UN Habitat, highlighting UNITAR's work towards economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable cities.
It was at that moment that UNITAR has established a network of cities that have been collaborating with us on training. That network, that has centers in 10 cities right now, has been able to provide a basis for more interesting and more up-to-date contributions for improving lives in cities. And we have been able to develop a number of training programs with these partners, and we are very proud of it.
The Shanghai Expo 2010 will start in May this year and will continue through the end of October. More than 200 countries and organizations and 70 million visitors are expected to gather on 5 kilometers of land. The United Nations will have its own state-of-the-art pavilion with a surface area of 3,000 square meters and a premier location of the expo site. The theme will be One Earth, One UN, with UNITAR organizing a series of exciting events and an eye-catching exhibition from the 19th through the 25th of September. On the 29th through the 31st of March, Mr. Carlos Lopez, Executive Director of UNITAR, traveled to the Republic of Korea. On the 29th through the 31st of March, Mr. Carlos Lopez, Executive Director of UNITAR, traveled to the Republic of Korea. At the island of Jeju, he signed a partnership agreement between UNITAR and the International Peace Foundation, IPF, for the establishment of the International Training Center for Local Actors, CFAO Jeju. This partnership was agreed to by Mr. Lopez and Mr. Han Tae-gun, the president of the Jeju Peace Institute. CFAO Jeju's main objective will be providing training activities to local authorities in the Asia and Pacific region on environment and human security. CFAO Jeju will be inaugurated in July 2010. Located on the premises of the Jeju Peace Institute, CFAO Jeju expects to launch the first training program in October 2010. Also during his Korean visit, Mr. Lopez signed a memorandum of understanding with Jeju's Special Self-Governing Province and the International Peace Institute, as well as a meeting with Korean representatives. The purpose of the memorandum is to develop the cooperation between UNITAR, IPF, and Jeju's Special Self-Governing Province to facilitate knowledge exchange in the field of peace and environment in Asia-Pacific region. The meetings with the representatives aimed at reinforcing cooperation between UNITAR and the Republic of Korea. On the 30th of March 2010, the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, successfully beamed a collision of opposing particles. On the 30th of March 2010, the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, successfully beamed a collision of opposing particles. Built by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, or CERN, the LHC is known to be the world's largest and highest energy particle accelerator. The experience is based on the collision of opposing particle beams through a speed close to the speed of light. Those particles are smashed together and then produce new ones. The significance of the LHC collision is that by creating conditions that were similar to after the Big Bang, scientists can get a better understanding of how the Earth was created. Also, the research can explain why matter has mass. For deeper insight, we asked world-renowned CERN physicist John Ellis to explain.
So the LHC you can think of as just being an enormous microscope. 27 kilometers in circumference. It has particles going around, and at 4 places around the ring we make collisions of these particles, and that way we can find out what's going on inside matter, what are the basic laws of physics, and perhaps also get some insights into the early evolution of the universe. So the LHC just a couple of weeks ago started making collisions at higher energies than any previous particle accelerator in the world. So this means that it has become a more powerful microscope than any other that we have. And it's able to analyze what's going on at a much deeper level inside matter than any previous experiments. That also means, if one looks at the connection with the early universe, that we're able to recreate conditions that occurred when the universe was a fraction, a millionth of a second old. And this is taking us way back, far further than any previous experiments have ever been able to do. So we don't know exactly what we're going to find there. We've got all sorts of ideas about what we might discover at the LHC. I think for me, one of the most exciting things about it is that we don't know what we're going to find. So for us, the fit with UNISAT is a very natural one. UNISAT can benefit from our IT infrastructure, from the grid tools, for example, that we've been developing. And also I think that we can work together to develop scientific contacts with parts of the world where maybe, for example, CERN doesn't have such good contacts, maybe UNISAT has better ones, and vice versa. So for me, it's very natural to work together. CERN and UNISAT have been discussing the idea of training initiatives, in particular for diplomats. This is something which we have on our agenda, and I hope very much that during this year, 2010, we'll be able to make some progress on it. I think I'd just like to finish off by saying that right now, CERN is an incredibly exciting place, and all we physicists are having fun, and anybody is welcome to join us on the internet, and hopefully soon we'll be able to enable you to participate directly in our research.
C'est ainsi que se termine cette édition d'UNITAR News.
Con esto concluimos la edición de UNITAR News.
This is the end of the April edition of UNITAR News. Reporting from Geneva, Switzerland, I'm Clintandra Thompson. Thank you for watching. This broadcast has been brought to you by the United Nations Institute for Training and Research and student volunteers from the University of Geneva.